Good morning, everybody. Sorry we're late. You can tell Mercury's in its shadow coming into retrograde. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you today and be with my very best good friend, Kathryn, from Colorado now, who lives in Colorado. She and I went to college together back in the day. We're not going to say when. And, and we have been connected, but Kathryn was very successful owner of a dance studio for many, many years. So that's why I've entitled this Dancing Through Life. So welcome, Kathryn.
Hello, Aley. I am honored to be part of your podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy we got here. We did get here.
Yes.
Oh, great. So, tell us a little bit about what you did in the dance studio and how many years and what kind of dance you offered and ages and so on. Start there, if you would.
Well, it started after college graduation.
Oh,
I was a PE major where we went to school, and when I got out, I got fat. I just put on a whole bunch of weight, and I said, "All right, I'm going to go. Oh yeah, I'm going to go back to dance class that I had when I was a kid." So I went back to the same studio that I had as a child, and everything started to feel good again. And then the teacher got pneumonia and said, "Would you cover a couple of classes?" So I covered a couple of classes. Eventually, I bought the studio from her, and I had the studio for 35 years.
wow, a very long time. Yeah,
Really proud to be a woman in business.
absolutely, absolutely. And you were very successful. I know you brought some of your dance troupes. I believe it off Broadway or onto Broadway. I'm not sure.
Not quite. We
Okay.
performed with Bruce Springsteen. That's not bad.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's fabulous. That's
And
great.
we performed at the Rockefeller Center tree lighting. We performed at Continental Arena. But most importantly, in those 35 years, we performed with a charity from
That's great.
Thanksgiving to Christmas
Mhm.
to give back to the community.
Good.
To me, that's really, really important, especially with the young people. They need to know
Hmm.
that life is more
Start
important.
early.
Yes,
Yeah.
start early. And
Yeah.
because of those situations, we would perform for the forgotten,
Hmm.
the AIDS families, the
Oh, that's great.
severely handicapped.
Mhm.
You know, think of a brown building, okay, brown, and think of
Mhm.
a brown room full of severely handicapped children.
Oh,
And then
that's depressing. Yeah.
here come these dancers in red and green.
Oh,
And
wow.
not only did they perform for them, but part of what we did was interact with them. So each of the dancers would find a child and spend the afternoon with that child.
Wow. That's great. And you did this for several years or more? Uh,
24 years we did it.
oh, my Lord, you did?
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. So, what ages were the gals that were involved with you?
Well, my dance studio started at 2.5 to
Hmm.
18, and then we
Oh,
had
wow.
basic adult classes, ballet and tap. But it was mostly the kids, and that's my heart, our children. You know,
Sure.
I was lucky enough to see them grow up from 2.5 to 17.
Right.
You know,
Right. Oh,
and
wow. They're like your own kids. Yeah.
they really
Yeah.
they are, and some of them, because of the experiences we had, went on in their life to become nurses and therapists and physical therapists, and you know,
Wow.
it meant a lot, and it still
Yes.
does.
So to me, that shows a great deal of adding not only um, giving back to the community and so on, but it also shows insights into different types of spiritual ideals. And
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. On a fun aside,
Uh-huh.
before we performed, I always had a bottle of glitter, and I
Uh-huh.
would sprinkle every dancer around in a circle and say faith, trust, and a little bit of magic, a little pixie dust.
Oh, wow.
faith in you know what you're doing,
Right.
trust that you know how, and
Correct.
live your magic. That's the
Right.
spiritual cornerstone of what I wanted to give these people, because they were dancers, but my goal was to give them life skills through dance.
Right.
And the spirituality was a big part of it.
Oh, I believe it.
We
Yeah.
did. It started off with Aley Dance Company. I took a class with them, and at the
Oh,
end, they did something called constructive rest. Now, back in the day, this was unheard of. You lay on the floor, you breathe,
right.
but became part of it. Started my yoga practice,
Yep.
and I
Bringing
brought
up the Kundalini and yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and the chakras and the but I had to do it in a way that was palatable to the dancers, that it wasn't too out there.
Mhm.
But we would in New
Right.
Jersey, where I'm from, there are plenty of testing in the school system. Every 2 years, you have to
Mhm.
take a test, and the kids' energy would just explode. And that's when I
Yeah.
would take time at the dance studio to, okay, guys, at the end of class today, we're going to do a little meditation. We're going to take it down. We're going to do
Right.
a shavasana or constructive rest or guided meditation, whatever you wanted to call it.
Uh-huh.
And,
Uh,
it works.
it does. It does. I got involved with the martial arts in the 80s and was able to get almost a brown belt. I ended up hurting myself, and but that mental space and that active Kundalini rise and spiritual beliefs, and it was like a sacred movement. And I'm sure that's what dance is as well, because it's an expression of creativity that seems to just flow through you if that's the venue that you go through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a book by Elizabeth Gilbert called
Uh-huh.
Big Magic, and it is about the creative process. And sometimes you're not in control of it. Sometimes it's the universe
It is.
and and making it happen. It's
Right.
a wonderful book, and if you can't do the book, at least do the TED Talk on it.
Right.
It
Right.
tells you all
Yep.
about all of those things.
There's a fellow that I saw on TED Talks, and I always show this video to my students when I'm in face-to-face classes. But this man just passed away, and he talked about, I think her name was, is it Gillian Lee? She was the one that was the dancer for Cats, and or she was the choreographer for Cats in England,
Okay.
and she did. I think that was her name. She was an older woman, but her parents thought that there was something wrong with her because she was always moving and moving and moving, and they took her to a psychiatrist back in the day,
Back in the day.
and the psychiatrist said, "I'd like to talk to you. Can we leave you here for a few minutes?" And they turned on the radio when they left, and they watched through a window as she danced around the room. And he turned to them and said, "There's nothing wrong with you, with your daughter. She wants to dance." And
So true.
there it goes. Yeah.
I'm going to get on my soapbox. I hope you don't mind.
No, go right ahead.
Science cures, but the arts heal.
They do.
The arts are a place for the people who don't do square pegs, square hole. It's for the unique.
Right.
Many of my dancers had some degree of ADD. Many of my dancers had other issues. But when you move physically, it's healing, it's creating, it's moving forward, and your audience becomes a part of that. They heal, they observe. With the arts, I understand now that life is all about STEM. Got to do STEM. But in my soul,
Yeah.
I believe it's STEAM. Got to add the arts factor in there.
It is. Oh, it is. I actually even did a talk on it at a college level because, of course, I'm a humanities teacher. And I said, you cannot be human without the arts. That's who we are, STEM is great, but you have to relate to people. And if that relating goes from dancing or talking or looking at a piece of art or listening to music, whatever it is. That's how we become human. So
And
that's,
dance is the first language. When they wanted to talk about killing the mastodon, they did movement because there was no language at that point. Or
mhm,
they drew pictures on the caves. The arts are
right.
human.
They are human. And I think that people may think they would like to get involved in dancing. Remember when we were kids and you go to the junior high dance and the boys wouldn't dance because they didn't know how to dance. And
Yeah.
I think, just move and get yourself out there. Doesn't mean you have to necessarily, even join a dance class, although I think it would be absolutely fabulous if you could.
Mhm.
But walking starts it. I think in building up and then taking yoga or other things that can sort of instill that beauty into your life.
As simple as skipping. Skipping is
Yeah.
dance. What
Uh-huh.
I do, I try to connect the reasons why dance works,
Uh-huh.
the balance of the brain, the hemispheres of the brain, the balance of right brain, left brain. But skipping, to me, is the
Mhm.
singular best thing you can do for your psyche, for your physicality, for your soul. Just
And
skip five
yeah,
steps. Doesn't have to be.
probably even for old folks like me. I think I'll try that, honestly. Yeah.
And you want to know if you're still a kid inside? Skip backwards. And it makes you laugh.
Oh my God.
It just makes you laugh. And
Uh-huh.
it has no
Yep.
age restriction at all. If you're,
Right.
physicality is another situation. But just a
Of
couple of
course.
skips, it gives you
Right.
balance, it gives you joy, and it's
Yeah.
all wonderful.
I know. Right now, people are saying they can't do this, they can't do that, but you can always go outside or take your car and go to a quiet park or something. If you don't, if you live in an apartment or something. But that just getting out there and then making that movement makes you feel totally alive. Yeah.
Being in the moment, being
Right.
in the moment. I'm lucky to live at the base of the mountains, of the Rocky Mountain Range. And
Uh-huh.
for us, it's not very far to go to the mountains and walk.
Hmm.
And each walk, I try to do something that's going to engage my brain.
Right.
So I will say, okay, today I'm going to look at the birds. I'm going to look for birds. And that'll be my mindfulness. I am going
Right.
to count my steps, or I'm going to feel the earth through
Right.
my
Through
feet.
your feet. Right.
Uh, how many clouds, trees, are there leaves on the trees, on and on, to make it mindful
Absolutely.
in these
Absolutely.
very stressful times, as you and I both know.
As we both know. Absolutely. I try to have it's funny that you mentioned that. One of my things that I have students do is to go outside and smell, taste, touch, feel, and intuit whatever it is, and hear what's going on. Then they have to write about it.
Mhm.
It's to open up their receptivity to it. Most of them are like, I don't know how to do that. Well, what did you see? You saw a tree, but what did it look like? Was it gnarly, or were there leaves on it or whatever? So yes, the integration of the arts is absolutely what we all need to do and not forget to do. So
And put down your phone.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
that's my concern for the young people. Uh,
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
phone, and if you could just put it away. All right, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to leave my phone in the car under my seat,
Right.
and just do without that noise, because it is
Uh-huh.
changing who we are as humans.
It is. Yeah.
When we were younger, we couldn't wait to get our driver's license. Yes, we're out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah.
But even
Yeah.
before COVID, people weren't getting their driver's license. Why should I get my driver's license? I got my friend, I got my phone. That's concerning, for the future.
Yeah, for the independence of the individual, especially,
Mm.
if you too dependent on one thing, because I even have asked them at times, what would you do if the grid went down? And they didn't get what the grid was, but I said, you wouldn't have a phone. I said, and they said, well, that would never happen, you know. Well, it has, but we've had something happen, and it's not the same as it was. And so it could happen. When it went down, I think when it went down in 18, whatever it was, there was only the telegraph, and the telegraph was out and no one could communicate for 2 or 3 months. They said if it happened to us, it would be maybe 2 or 3 years that we would lose out. So we got to find other things that can fill us up and bring us some uh, excitement and mindfulness and attention. So that's awesome.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's a lot of studies done about
Hmm.
cell phones, and they're good in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
how they're detrimental in other ways. In fact, just came into my mind, there is a thing that's going on through the school systems called screenager, like teenager, but
Oh,
screenager.
okay. No, none of
And it
that.
talks about putting down your phone and how healthy that is. And for the parents to put the kids' phones and the chargers are in the kitchen at night, not in
Or in
the
a
bedroom.
basket or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Little,
Yeah.
little things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for people to learn how to focus now. Everybody's looking over here, and
Right.
rather than making eye contact, even if it is over, the
Over
internet.
Zoom. Right. I
Zoom.
have that issue with my kids in my Zoom meetings because they have their avatars up and I don't even know if they're listening, really. But they have to be there. But to demand that they open themselves up to it all the time is not something that I want to do either. So we'll have I've made times they have to talk to me. So that works out.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you are a good educator.
Well, it's just so much fun. It's like you with your dance teaching. If it's not fun, it's not worth it. You know, it really isn't.
Those poor people who have to go to work and hate their jobs.
I don't know how they've done it, honestly. I'd rather stay working at this age than be unhappy at something I did for 20 years. A couple of things come to mind. One of those things is I want to talk about the children that you went into the private school. I want to do that. But I also want to pass this along to you. Go to your local community college now after COVID, obviously, and see what they have for community classes because I teach a community class at one of the adult living homes. I haven't been because, and we were reading, like we read Madame Bovary, and then we had a discussion about it. But it would be wonderful for you to turn to the older generation if you can, and even if
I
you
think
just
you're
give them
calling me the
gentle
older
yoga.
generation.
Older than us.
I don't know.
I got so picked on there because I said, I'm your age, everybody. I'm 65. And they're like, well, we're 87. But anyway, but yes, please do tell us about the children and the mindfulness exercises that you did.
With owning a dance studio, the day didn't start until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I had my whole days free. My husband was working, my daughter was in school, and I got to do something. So I got involved with a brand new charter school in New Jersey. Now, this was, again, 20 years ago. And so I
Yeah.
taught their dance program, and I got involved with choreography and blah, 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 blah. And as the world changed, I became more interested in yoga, and I said, I can present this to the kids. So I got
Yeah.
certification in something called Radiant Child Yoga, and we started integrating it into K through 8.
Mhm.
And little things that you can do, little things that will lower your blood pressure, that will
Mhm.
ease your stress, that will compress your focus, make a huge difference to these young people. In fact, later on in life, I'd see them on the street and they go, hey, Mrs. Barnett, I still do Satanama, which is your hands. In Kundalini yoga, there are many kinds of yoga, and Kundalini to me is physical action reaction. If you do one thing, it causes another. So
Right.
the nerve endings of your hand, all right, and if you palm up, press 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And in a relaxed state, like hands under your desk so nobody sees it. and you
Right.
silently repeat sa, ta, na, ma. Satana, and you push into your fingers. Well, what that is, most of the nerve endings are in your hands and your feet, so you are stimulating the nerve endings in a positive way. Your tongue is hitting the roof of your mouth, which causes another meridian, and it goes, oh, blood pressure goes right down.
Yep.
Something as simple as that. Something as simple as not praying, because I was in public school, can't pray.
Right, you can't do that. Yep.
You take prayer pose and you clasp rather than do this because it's public school. Yep. Push as hard as you can and just push 10 seconds. It balances the hemispheres of your brain. How easy is that?
Very. Yeah.
Very easy. Very.
Now, why didn't I should have known this 4 years ago.
Well, I have a whole bunch of them. I will send you what I would send out to the parents at the school. Give yourself a hug. How hard is that? Give yourself, especially now.
Right.
All of these things. And it had a positive, this school, the charter school, was in a diverse, financially depressed area. So these skills, these children needed. And the teachers. I gave special teachers classes as well.
Wow.
After school 1 day a week, just to get everybody on the same page and how to use the tools in the toolbox.
Sure. That's fabulous. Wow. It just, it's the things that we don't think about that can make the difference. And they, like you say, they can be very, very small things. And I think because we've not been able to interact with people, I know you've told me before that you're a person that likes to be with other people and enjoy company and doing things together. And this has been very hard for you. But I also can see that it may be that this was what you needed to balance some things, maybe. I don't know, because now you're doing some you're doing some painting, you're doing sculpture and woodcraft, and your husband is also doing the same thing. So in a way, it's, I don't know. We think of it as a blessing if we can use the time well. Let's put it that way.
Yes, things have changed. I came here. I applied for a job at the college. I thought my life was going to go this way, and it took a left turn. And I'm okay with that.
Right. Yeah. For now.
I'm learning a lot about myself, what's important to me.
Good.
Tapping into my creative side. I'd like to continue doing something online with something, but I haven't figured it out yet. It'll happen.
Yeah, it will. There's a lot out there that I've really, for me, it's been the growth of my journaling and using artistic, because I'm not if you look at my stick figures, and I'm not a very good artist, but I've dropped that and said, I'm an artist who I am because I'm a writer. And so my writing, the way that I love analog writing. And I know you keep a gratitude journal and you keep it in an analog style, but I love it. That relaxes me and gives me that. But I didn't start that probably until, well, I did it on and off, but really every day, only about 3 or 4 years ago. And now it's like every day I have all these different journals I have to write in, but I don't look at it as a bad thing. I've never felt under the gun with it. It was something that I really enjoy. So,
as a teacher in the arts, what you started your conversation with, I am not an artist, I am not a dancer, I am not a this, I am not a that, is something I would hear all of the time.
Sure. Yes. Yep.
And not to diminish your feelings at all, but you are, because we are human. Our human DNA, it's in us.
Absolutely.
And we just got to let go of the fact that we can't, because the arts are for everybody. Do you chop vegetables? Do you make dinner? That's art.
It is. Yeah. Chopping broccoli.
Because you're not thinking about anything else. You're thinking about chopping the broccoli and not cutting off your finger.
Right.
And that's what the arts bring to me.
Yep. Joy.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
But here in Colorado, it's very interesting because I was very much in an arts community in New Jersey. Every arts, dance teachers, theater people. New York wasn't far away. Blah 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 blah. And coming here, it's different.
It is.
And they
Yeah.
look at me like, "You're different. You know, you think differently." And I go, "Yes, come join my bus."
Right. Right. I'll learn from you. You learn from me. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
I've been the person that's lived in 11 states, and so I'm a little bit of every state I've lived in. But yes, in the South they don't tend to look at me with very, not many of them look at me very happily. But otherwise, I feel like I've learned so much because of that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, what kind of where are you going next? What are you working on right now? Let's put it that way to end this up.
I am continuing my yoga practice, continuing my gratitude practice. I have been.
That's important.
That's
Yep.
important, and I've always had one, but now it's more structured. I make myself accountable. I have a calendar and I write on it every day whether or not I did. I am exploring my creativity.
Yeah.
I am doing my yoga.
Good.
I am trying to learn more about the internet so we can have conversations and interactions with people.
With others, yeah.
And I am grateful to the bottom of my heart that you and I connected.
Absolutely. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't reconnect with somebody and just where you left off.
Yep.
Even after many, many years. I mean, we sent Christmas cards. That was the extent of it. We're both so busy. So this has been a real blessing, and I thank you as well, Kathryn, for coming to talk with us today. And I look forward to hearing more about your journey. Thanks for bringing in all the things that you did to talk about, and namaste to you.
Namaste.
Thanks everybody for coming by.